Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All my dear students of class 8, welcome back to your online class. Once again, I will proceed with the revision of the reproduction in animals. I had explained you, in fact, I had revised the asexual reproduction in animals, in which I have taken up fission, budding, and regeneration. And then I had also taken up sexual reproduction in animals, in which I have told you about the human reproductive system, that is, have explained the male reproductive system. Today I will proceed on with the female reproductive system. Now, female reproductive system is made up of what parts? That is, a pair of ovaries. A pair means two ovaries, which you can see over here. Fallopian tube. Fallopian tube you can see, right? This is the fallopian tube, and which you even call as the oviduct. Then the uterus, this is the uterus, right? Then the where it narrows down, this is the cervix, and the last part, that is the vagina. This is the vagina. What are ovaries? Told you they contain a pair of, or they consist of a pair of ovary, and they are whitish oval bodies, and each ovary lies in the lower half of the abdomen on the side of the uterus. You can see on both sides of the uterus, on the left as well as the right side, the ovaries are present as whitish oval bodies. And what do the ovaries produce? They produce the female gamete, or the female reproductive cell, which is also called as the ova. This is the plural of ovum, or the eggs. And it also produces the female sex hormone, that is the estrogen and progesterone. Is it clear? So this is produced by the ovaries. Now this is a very detailed diagram of the structure of ovum. Only one labeling is given in your book, that is the nucleus, which you can see over here. Apart from this, this is the nucleus containing a nucleolus, as well as this is the cytoplasm inside the egg cell, then the follicle cell, then the first polar body and the zona pellucida. These are the other parts, but right now you are concerned with the nucleus, that is this is the structure of the ovum. Now, ovaries start producing the eggs at the age of 12 to 13 years, and an egg is a single cell, and it is released by one of the ovaries every month. That is, a single mature egg is released by one of the ovaries every month, and they are produced up to the age of 45 to 50 years. Then is the next part, that is the fallopian tubes or the oviducts. That is, you can see the fallopian tubes, right? These are the two fallopian tubes, are thin and coiled muscular tubes, and each fallopian tube has a funnel shaped opening near the ovary. You can see this in the form of a funnel, right? That is a funnel shaped opening which collects the ovum when it is released from the ovary. So the ovum released by an ovary goes into the fallopian tube to the funnel shaped opening. This is the funnel shaped opening on both the ovaries, and then thereafter what happens? The ovum which is released, it is fertilized with the sperm to form a zygote in the fallopian tube. The process of fertilization, that is the fusion of the sperm and the ovum, takes place in the fallopian tube. Next part is the uterus. This is the uterus. It is a bag-like structure, and the two fallopian tubes, that is right and left, both are connected to the uterus, and uterus is a bag-like structure, which the growth and development of a zygote. Now, after the fusion of the male and the female cell, or the sperm and the ovum, what is the result? The zygote is formed. This zygote, it moves on from the, after the fertilization is complete, it moves on to the uterus and gets implanted, gets fixed over here, and here the further development and growth of the baby takes place. Then the uterus opens into a wide muscular tube which is called as the vagina. Is it clear? It opens outside the body. So this is, you can see, this is the uterus and this is the vagina. And after this, what is there? The vagina receives the sperms from the male during the intercourse, and it also serves as the birth canal. Is that here? The passage for the sperms from the male, which are injected into the body of the female, is through the vagina, and even the birth of the baby takes place through the vagina. It is also, that is why it is called the birth canal. Is it clear? So in females, the urethra carrying urine from the urinary bladder opens into the vulva, and vulva is in the front of the vaginal opening. So in the males there is a single passage, that is for both urine and sperms, that is through the penis, and here there are two separate openings for the birth of the baby and for the urine. Is that clear? There are two different openings. Next is, what is fertility? So I told you that sperms enter through the vagina. They are deposited in the vagina of a female through the penis and during sexual intercourse, and the sperms move with the help of the tails. I have told you that the sperms have tails for the movement, and through the movement they reach the fallopian tube, and the sperms the whole of the sperm does not penetrate inside the ovum, but just the head penetrates and releasing the nucleus inside the cytoplasm of the ovum. So the sperms reach the fallopian tube through the uterus, that is from the vagina into the uterus and then to the fallopian tube, where the process of fertilization takes place, where the fusion of the the sperm and the ovum takes place. So millions of sperms are released into the vagina, which I told you that 2.5 to around 4 ml of semen it is charged at one time. And how many sperms does that amount contain? Around 300 to 400 million sperms. That is a very huge amount, but all of them die. Most of them die during the way, on their way they die, and only one fuses with the ovum. So millions of sperms are released into the vagina, but only a few of them reach the ovum, and the rest of the sperm die on their way. Only the sperm fuses with the egg, only one sperm, right? So you can see in this diagram also, the only one sperm, this doesn't fuse, there's so many of them, but only one is penetrating, it is fusing with the ovum. So what is left behind is tail. You can see the tail has been left behind, and what gets inside is the head, through which the nucleus is released. Is that clear? This is called as fertilization, and it results in the formation of a zygote. So the fusion of the sperm and egg to form a zygote is called fertilization, and it takes place inside the fallopian tube. Is it clear? So the process of fertilization takes place inside the fallopian tube. So I've told you that is the fusion of the egg and the sperm results in the formation of zygote. You can see the nucleus of the two. This is the nucleus of the ovum, and one is nucleus of the sperm, and the fusion takes place resulting in the formation of zygote. Is it clear? Now moving on to the implantation and the development of embryo. I have told you again and again, the fusion, it's a two nuclei which fuses as one. Is that clear? To form a zygote. Then there is further division of the nuclei, and the zygote keeps on dividing rapidly and repeatedly again and again, and it forms a ball of many cells. This is called an embryo. Is it clear? Now what happens? By the time that the zygote has formed the embryo, you can see over here how the cells have kept on dividing repeatedly inside, and then you can see the movement from here. It has moved on to the uterus. Yes, now this is the movement, and here the zygote reaches the uterus. From the zygote stage, it has converted into the embryo stage. Is it clear? And it gets fixed over there. And this fixing of the embryo in the wall of the uterus for further development is called implantation. Is it clear? This fixing of the embryo in the where the embryo moves on from the fallopian tube into the uterus, it gets fixed over there for further development, and this is called as implantation, and this state is called pregnancy. Now what happens? Now you can see this is the enlarged state of zygote has converted, or it has been started converting into an embryo. Is that clear? The cells have started dividing again and again, and many cells have started forming. So this is conversion from the zygote to the embryo stage. Now what happens is that at this stage where the cells have started dividing repeatedly, they start forming groups of cells, and these groups develop into different tissues. Studied that how the cells, group of cells form a tissue, and then group of tissue form organs and organ system. This is all happening inside the embryo, and this process is called as differentiation. They get specialized for performing different functions. Is that clear? That is how they make up an organ, and then collectively they form an organ system. Now the embryo is attached to the uterus by the placenta. You see this cord like structure that is there. This is the placenta. This is how the embryo is attached to the uterus. This is the uterus to which this is the embryo to which it is through which it is attached is placenta. Is that clear? And the embryo is surrounded by a sac-like membrane filled with a fluid. It is filled with a fluid, and this fluid acts as a cushion and protects the growing embryo. It acts as a cushion. If something is cushioning anything, that means it is protecting it from any injury, any shocks and jerks. So this is how it keeps on developing inside this sac, and this sac-like membrane is known as amnion. Is it clear? This is known as amnion, and the fluid which is present is amniotic fluid. So the embryo continues to develop in the uterus and gradually develops the body parts, that is the legs, eyes, ears, hands, legs, and all the parts, which is mouth, everything. So the stage of the embryo in which all the body parts can be identified, it is called as the fetus. This is the fetus, F-O-E-T-U-S. And the period from the fertilization of the egg till the birth of the baby is called the gestation period, which in humans is about 280 days or 9 months. Is it clear? It is 280 days or 9 months. That is the period from fertilization of the egg till the birth of the baby. This is called the gestation period. And when the fetus is fully developed, and what happens? The muscles of the uterus contract to push the baby out from the womb, and the mother gives birth to the baby. This is how a baby is born, and the process of reproduction takes place in humans. Is it clear? So once again I will repeat that when the fetus is fully developed, then what happens? The muscles, that is of the uterus, which is a bag like structure and a muscular structure, it contracts. Is that clear? To push the baby out from the womb, and the mother gives birth to the baby, and that is how the baby is born. This is how the process of reproduction takes place in humans. Now the growth after this, once a child is born, or when a baby is born, the growth process starts. Now this is a natural process, and it includes the 4 basic stages in the life cycle of a human being. That is, when he or she is a baby, it's called an infant at this stage, that is infancy. And then after that, the stage is from 3 to 11 years, that is the childhood stage, in which the various physical divisions or physical changes takes place. That is, there are so many development and so many changes take place that entirely a different person is seen. That is the childhood stage. And then begins after or between the 11 to 19 years is the puberty age, and this stage is the stage at which the production of sex hormones and reproductive cells starts in a boy or a girl, and this is called as the adolescence or puberty. So this is the next stage, and in this stage an individual becomes sexually mature to reproduce. And the 4th stage, that is the adulthood, and this follows the adolescence, and an individual attains complete growth and emotional stability at this stage, and then gives priority to career and shouldering responsibilities. So these are the stages of growth of a human being. This is the stage of baby, that is infant stage, and babies from birth to 1 year are called infants, and they are usually fed on mother's milk. And in this stage they can breathe, suck, swallow, cry when they feel hungry, cold and hot, or any other uncomfortable situation is there. And this is how they communicate, as they still cannot talk. Stage 3 is the childhood stage. This stage can be divided into 3 sub-stages. That is the early childhood, it's called the toddler, 1 to 3 years, then preschooler, that is 3 to 5 years, and then primary school boy, that is 5 to 12 years. In childhood, what happens? The baby gradually grows, learns to crawl, and then walk, talk, run, and do various activities, and even identify things in its surroundings, recognize things. This is what and that is what. When a preschool communicates properly, can talk properly, read and write, make friends, and does many more childhood activities, then a primary schooler has developed good muscle control and coordination, eye-hand coordination, learns to write properly, learns to draw properly, then personal habits are there, learns to wash hands and take bath properly. Then adolescence, this is the stage that a child grows into adolescent through a period called puberty, I have told just now, and usually takes place in the child's teenage years, starting from 13 years up to 19 years. Therefore adolescents are also called teenagers. In some girls and boys, puberty takes place at the age of 10, 11 and 12 too. That is early adolescence, and during the puberty a rapid growth and changes of the body take place. So both boys and girls will be taller, heavier and stronger, get hair on the arms, on legs and arms and around genitals, that is private organs, get more oily skin and start to sweat more. And boys also get a deep, rough voice, hair on face, broad shoulders, chest and bigger muscles, while girls begin to develop the breast, hip and start menstrual cycle. Similarly, at this stage, the baby also changes and attitude of the teenager also change, and they are independent in doing their day-to-day activities because they think they are grown up now and they can manage things on their own. Then the stage 5, that is the adulthood. People who are from age 20 years to 65 years are called adults, are at the right age to reproduce and make their own families. The young adults 20 to 30 years, middle age 36 to 55, and then older 55 to 65 years. So this is what is adulthood. And an adult reaches about 5 to 60 years. Age 6, an old person, but it totally depends on the health of each person, as some die earlier. Human life cycle ends at this stage.